Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to our podcast where we agree.
To disagree.
And today is the last episode of season 1, and I had a cool intro planned out, but Mykayla didn't like it. So
No, you could have.
that's why she's laughing.
No, redo it.
It's too late.
It's-
We've already done it.
I'm sorry. I was thrown off guard. I didn't know what was happening. But anyway, this is the finale, and we've done 40 episodes. Isn't that just crazy? And
That's a whole pregnancy right there.
we did those 40 episodes when I was in school, and being pregnant, super sick, and all the things. And here we are, the 40th. Wait, is this the 40th?
Yeah, the
40th,
40th
episode, which is insane. I feel like we've done more than 40, feels like.
It's been 40.
Which is crazy. Anyway, it's the finale for season 1. And
So what have you learned so far from doing the podcast? I've learned that Mykayla doesn't like doing podcasts. I feel like it's gotten better, and you enjoy while we're doing it, and you enjoy afterwards. Like when people say, "Hey, I loved the podcast," but you never want to like actually sit down and do it.
yeah, it's getting to the table. It's hard because I'm like, oh, I could be doing this, or oh, I could be sitting down. But then we do it, and it's a lot of fun. Something I've
fun.
learned is a lot of people think we need marriage counseling. Apparently. So
That's probably my favorite part.
I mean, I think everybody could use marriage counseling, and we've even talked about marriage counseling, but I also wanted to have a podcast where I could share my opinions, and that's why it's Agree to Disagree. So here we are. I've learned a lot, talked a lot,
I wonder if,
and I've had a really great time. It's been really fun.
yeah, I've learned a lot. I feel like we've gotten in a rhythm. It's been fun. So you want to dive into episode 40? For this episode, Mykayla asked everybody on Instagram,
Oh, yeah, I did.
what should we give our opinions on for the finale? And we were a little nervous because some of them were really interesting. Usually we did get good responses, but we also got a lot of like not so good. Not like bad, but just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know,
Very interesting.
maybe stuff that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
But we do have a good list. Should we just dive into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Mykayla, what's your opinion on people assuming they know you and your relationship when they don't?
I hate that opinion. I just hate people's opinions in general.
What if it's a good opinion?
Well, if it's good, yeah, but like whenever it comes to stuff like that or parenting or because I feel like most of the time when it's opinions like that, it's like bad stuff. You know what I mean? It's not like the good stuff about it.
I
It's
guess
always
that's true.
like they always got to find the bad in it, which is like such a bummer because I'm like there's so much great besides the bad, and for some reason people just like to pick out the bad. And again, it always makes them feel better to pick out the bad because then it's like, oh, well, they have this issue, so I must not be that bad because they have that, or, I don't know, different things like that. So my opinion on it, I don't know, just bugs me. I'm like, just don't even have opinion, don't even say it. Let's just move on and have a great time, you know?
I agree. How do you foresee kids impacting your career?
Well, how do you see it? Do you think it's going to impact your career?
I mean, I don't really see it impacting mine at all because it's really, I'm not the stay-at-home mom. You are.
Yeah, but it maybe could impact your work ethic a little more. I'm just kidding. You have a really good work ethic.
You think it'll make me work harder?
Might make you more tired.
I mean, if we keep having kids, we're going to need a bigger house pretty soon, which we've already talked about and which I've already tried to start saving for. So, yeah, that'll impact my career because I'll need more money.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think how will it impact yours?
I think it will impact mine in a lot of ways. I mean, I feel like from like a standpoint on like Instagram, a lot of my following, I feel like is more people because they knew me from athletics, like the athletic side and being like an Olympian and an athlete and following my journey. And so I feel like as I've like kind of transitioned into somewhat of an influencer and doing more social media and just like posting about like normal life, I feel like I don't really have like that other side of the audience of like the influencer world or people that, have kids. Cause I feel like a lot of the influencers that have like kids and stuff and post about like their families, they have like just a lot more like normal people that are just really into that because they can relate a lot. And so I think it'd be cool to like kind of drag in that other crowd of people as well and, be able to share my experiences becoming a parent or what products I like or use, and even just getting like their feedback, because I love when influencers post about like the good DMs that they get of just like how that really helped somebody or that really inspired somebody of being a mom and a parent and going through struggles and trials. And I really hope that I can be like really open about that stuff, especially being a new time mom. Like, I'm sure I'm going to go through a lot of depression, anxiety, crying, a lot of happiness and good things too. But it'll be cool because I feel like I'll be able to relate to a lot more people in that sense, than just like me being an athlete and people just, knowing me as like an Olympic gymnast. So I think kids will help me in that way and help me to become, I don't know what I'm thinking. I feel like I'm thinking like 50 things in my head right now, and I'm like, I don't know which one to say.
Hey, I agree.
But I don't know, like, I'm sure I'll become a better person because of it. So that's pretty cool, being a mom and doing all the things. So it'll be exciting to like see me grow from like athlete to mom, It'll be kind of cool to see like that transition, or if it works, or I don't know. I guess we'll see what I post about or do. So only the future will know. What?
Nothing, I agree.
Oh no.
Can you have a strong marriage if you don't agree on controversial topics, such as politics, religion, vaccines, etc.? We actually talked about this earlier today, right?
Lunch, yeah.
Yeah, when we were eating lunch. And Mykayla thinks no. I think it depends.
Well, you said...
So, because for me, if you're like polar opposites, so, I mean, like politics, for example, if one person's way over here, one person's way over here, I don't think you can have a strong marriage if you like think exactly the opposite. But if one of you is more in the middle, or if you're both kind of in the middle on either side, or somewhat, as long as it's not like opposite ends of the spectrum, I think it's fine. Same with, I mean, religion, and like religion is a hard one too. Like, what if you're religious and your significant other is not at all, like atheist? Like, that would make me feel bad, because if you're atheist means you don't believe in God, and so that would make me feel like my significant other thought I was wrong, or dumb, right? Like, I don't know. I just feel like there are a few controversial topics that are so big that you have to have at least some middle ground if you want to make a relationship work. Otherwise, you're just, I don't know, it's too far apart.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, it wouldn't work. I mean, I think some people do make it work. But I was kind of talking about, like, I don't want to throw your parents into it, but, like, your mom's political views have changed a lot, since, like, I feel like, I mean, it's not like I knew your mom way before, but I feel like they've changed a ton. And I feel like when we were at lunch, we were kind of talking about it, because I was like, how do your parents make it work? Because, like, your mom doesn't like talking about it, which we've talked about before. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I see your dad, like, making a face, like, like, as if he, like, doesn't agree with it, but, like, he's just not going to say anything about it. Like, he just bites his tongue. And that would just be, like, so hard. Like, I would just be, like, talking. Like, I just would want to, again, have an open conversation and just, like, talk about it. Which I'm sure your parents probably, when they're not in front of us, probably talk more about those things. I don't know. I have no idea. But I just feel like it would, like, we were talking about it, and I was like, that would really bug me. Like, I couldn't just, like, sit there, or, like, if later in our marriage your views just completely changed, it would be really hard. Just like you said with religion, I feel like that, like, it'd be hard. And I was talking to this one lady, and that thing, had happened to her, and, her husband ended up not keeping the same faith as her, and it was really hard on their marriage. But I mean, they've made it work. It's hard. And maybe one day he'll find his way back, or you just got to keep having faith or whatever. But it's like hard because you really love the person. Like
Mm-hmm.
it would be hard because like if like you fell away, like I love you so much, it'd be hard to just be like, bye, you don't have the same faith. I don't know. I'd have to see what would happen in that situation if that ever happened to us. But some people do leave, like if you don't, bye.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, like,
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
curious if that happened to me, what I would do and how I would go about it. What do you think if I didn't become, or if I didn't stay active in our religion? Do you think you would leave me, or would you stay with me?
Why are you laughing?
Because I feel like you'd leave.
I don't. I
Because
mean,
you're just like,
it's such a big hypothetical. There are a lot more factors that go into it than just that. Like, would you have changed as a person? Like, would
Yeah,
you have
that's
done
true.
anything? Like,
that's true.
so
'Cause
I
I've
can't
seen,
answer
like,
that question because
I've seen people, especially like in our church, like where one will kind of leave, the other one stays active for a while, and then they kind of like follow into that path, and then they both end up leaving, but they stay together. But then I just feel like as a person, they like completely change. Like they're like like completely different people, and you're like, whoa, like. And like it's kind of crazy to see when people have God in their life and when they don't have God in their life. Like I just feel like their life becomes harder and they struggle a little bit more in some areas. You're just staring at me, it's freaking me out.
sorry, I'm just thinking. Sorry.
And so it's like whenever I see people like don't have Christ or God in their life, I'm just like, it makes me really sad because I'm like, there's so many great things when you have God in your life, which obviously it's not for everybody. I get it, but it's sad when you like kind of see them like drift off into a different path.
Yeah.
Can you like talk and not just sit there and shake your head? You're making me
Sorry,
nervous.
I'm thinking while you're talking. So, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I was just thinking, like, there's just so much that goes into it, and like people change, like that's part of life.
Right.
It doesn't even have to be changing for the better or worse. Like that's just kind of part of growing up and getting older. Everyone sort of gets a little different. So,
Well, I think a lot of that comes into it too is when you have kids. People are like, do I want to raise my kids in this church, in this religion? Especially, I don't know. There's just like so many things I feel like that come into play once you have kids. Like I feel like you grow up and you change a lot, and your perspectives change, and you see what you want and what you don't want too, which is kind of crazy when kids are in the picture, which is what I've noticed a lot with friends that have their first kid too.
yeah. What has been your favorite episode so far of season 1 of our podcast? Now you're staring at me.
There's been so many. I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to remember. I think my favorite episode was we did one on hot topics, and there were a few that we both got really into. So that was just kind of fun. I can't remember specifics. I just remember I liked that episode, and people told me they liked it. So that'd be mine.
I think my favorite was like kind of coming out that we were pregnant, just because I was so sick for so long and so miserable.
That was a good one. Yeah.
That it was just like exciting to like finally tell the news, because like again everyone was like either Mykayla, like they need marriage counseling, or Mykayla's pregnant, and I'm like, oh man. So that was like nerve-wracking doing the podcast too, because I was like, I don't want to like give it away, because like I could barely talk.
I do remember
and
that.
I was like, it was so miserable. So it was like really exciting to finally like kind of start feeling normal and kind of feel like I could like talk again in the podcast and like have my personality back, instead of just like sitting there like I hate my life. So I think that was like one of my favorites, was being able to come out and officially be like, I'm pregnant, and to like share the exciting news with everybody,
Yeah, that was good.
Fun.
Okay, what are your thoughts on showing your baby's face on the internet /YouTube?
I feel like I get this a lot.
That's a good question. I've been thinking about that.
I'm like fine with it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, I don't want to like make the focus on just my kid.
I agree.
Like I feel like some influencers, it's just everything's like their kids, like the camera's in their face, their kids are on every single like post thing, this, that, this, which I'm sure as a mom I'm going to be posting a bunch because I'm going to be like, she's so cute, like look how cute she is, like I'm going to be like bragging about her to the world. But I also just feel like some people take it a little too far, which like I don't care to do, but I do want her to be like I do want to like share her with you, you know what I mean, like this is our life, this is what we do, you know, because I don't know, I just feel like it's weird when you see people and they put like a baby or emoji over the baby's face.
I know.
And I'm like, come on, I want to see the baby. Like
I understand.
I don't think it's gonna do any harm having your baby like be on social media.
Yeah, like I understand, like, oh, you know, maybe you don't want your baby to be public or whatever, but I don't know. I just feel like that's weird when they blur out their face or put an emoji. Then I'm like,
why even
it,
have
like,
social media?
And your baby's face is gonna change in 3 months anyways, you know, and like, what are you gonna do? Not take him out in public? Like, you don't want people to ever see your kid. I have two main concerns though. So my one concern is I don't want it to ever get to the point where, because obviously I'm not going to name any names, but there's so many like family and like mom bloggers out there, and some of them you feel like it's almost like they're just using their kids for clicks, right? Mm-hmm. So I never want to get to that point where it's like where the kids are just a business as far as, you know, social media and YouTube goes. The other thing is you see, especially now that like social media has been around for a bit longer, kids growing up into it with the family that does it, or they have their own pages and they're kind of expected to keep going with it. That's another thing. You know, I don't want our kids to ever feel like they have to be in a video or they have to post, right? Like I want them to, you know, they can do whatever they want.
So Jonas and I have actually talked about making an Instagram page for our baby, which I know a lot of people do. So like I'm kind of curious on your guys' feedback of what you think. Like if you think it's dumb when people, you know, and they have their kids, they make their each Instagram page, but we just thought it'd be cool to like start them off and for you guys to follow along with them, which I don't think I'll post constantly, but kind of like we do with Mello, just because it's fun, and Mello's really funny and does cute, funny things. And I feel like we've had a good following on there and people have like enjoyed seeing those videos. So it'd be kind of something like that, just an update here and there, and to help grow her page in case, you know, she ever wants to do anything with social media or whatever she wants, or if she wants to delete it one day, she can delete it. But I'm really curious on like your guys' opinions on that. Like, do you think it's dumb? Should we do it? Is it worth it?
Yeah, it's a good question.
You just sit there and smile.
No, it's a good question.
It's like you stress me out. Sometimes I feel like I'm dumb or something.
No, I'm sure we'll figure it out as we go along too.
But I'm just curious like what other people's opinions are on that, because sometimes I feel like it's kind of dumb. So I'm like, should we do it? Is it worth it? You know? I don't know. What are you thinking? Because I know we've kind of talked about it, but like,
I just don't want to be in charge of social media. So
I know we've talked about that.
Yeah, so you do you. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. But yeah, that's
what are your like feelings towards it? Like for her to have an Instagram.
I think it's fun to have an Instagram for our kid as like her digital yearbook of her life. Does that make sense? Because that's something that no one from our generation has, because we didn't really have social media like that until we were older. So I think it'd be cool if we have an Instagram account for her and we post, even if it's like once a month, just the highlight of that month. And then like how cool would it be when she's grown up to be able to scroll through her Instagram and just kind of see what we said, see what happened in her life. And then, you know, when she's 12 or 16 or whatever age we decide, we'll hand it over to her, you know.
Jonas is going to be so cute.
Thanks.
That's cute.
I think that's a
See,
good
maybe
idea.
you should be in charge of her Instagram.
No. I do not like that. It's hard enough for me to post twice a year on my own Instagram. I don't want to. I'll post for Mello sometimes
That's
too.
cute. I feel like you haven't really told me that, so it's cute that you see. That's what I was
Really?
wanting. That's what I was trying to like get at, and you're
I
just
feel like
like
we've talked about this before.
I mean, we've talked about it, but not like I feel like not like a ton. Till
Okay, what are your thoughts on traditional roles such as mom stays home and dad goes to work?
well, of
Why
course,
are you laughing about every question?
Of course, because these are good. Because I mean, of course, I want to stay home. Like I don't want to work.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, I mean, and I've said this before. If it were, if I'm trying to think, I know the phrase in Spanish. I don't know what it in English. If it were up to me, I guess, or if it were my turn to be the stay-at-home dad. If that's how I don't know how to say this. If you were working, I would be fine being the stay-at-home dad. Like we've talked about this before, but it's just kind of. It also makes more sense. I feel like,
but
for
I also
the mom,
just like feel like
because you need to breastfeed anyways.
Yeah, I also feel like coming from like being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints standpoint, like it always used to be like the wife stays home and takes care of the children, the man works. Like the man does all the hard duty things, and the woman,
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. It's not like we're taught that.
I know, but I just feel like that's just kind of like how it was. Like I feel like moms would stay home more with the children and the husbands would work. And then obviously I feel like as times have gone on, it's just changed a lot too, which I know this is a big controversial topic because people, like, I think it's fine for women to work. I think if you want to work or your husband wants to stay home, sure, great. Like, I think that's totally fine. I know some people have like different opinions on it where they think like only a man should work and the woman needs to stay home with the kids. I mean, for me, I don't want to be like the one in charge or like I don't want to work unless I have to work. Like if I need to work, I will work. Like I will go get a job. That's why I got my degree, so I have that if I ever need to work. But I also just feel like I want the mom role and I want to be a mom and I want to stay home and I want to be with my kids because I don't want to have a nanny and I don't want to have someone else taking care of my child. Like I want to be in their life. I want to be there for them. And I just feel like when you watch kids grow up that don't have a loving and supporting family, it's really hard on the children. And I was talking, Jonas and we've been going on walks lately because I've been trying to like get out more. And I said I think we just need to make sure that as much as we can, give every single kid attention. And Jonas is like, attention? They don't need to be like...
No, I said...
Or what was...
I said... Okay, geez. I said I agree.
Not bad.
But I
you
said
were just like,
sometimes you see kids that have too much attention.
Yes.
Or they're too spoiled. And
and I was saying not like that. That's what I was going with.
Mm-hmm.
Not to give them attention like that, but just to make sure that like we're going to all of their sports activities and that they're all included and that, we just really care and love and support them in whatever they decide to do. And, because we were just talking about like our family situations and like different things. And I just don't want my kid to ever feel like one's better than the other or one got more than the other or this and that. Just from like my standpoint of like us talking about how like I'm always the favorite child in the family. And I just don't like how like whenever something bad happens or like this comes up, they're always like, it's all about Mykayla. Mykayla's the most spoiled. Mykayla this, Mykayla that. And sometimes it hurts like my feelings, which I feel like we didn't really talk about when we talked about this last podcast, but there's been something recently that happened and it just like, it kind of hit me where I was like, but my like growing up was not easy. Like my parents had to help me a ton and thankfully I had them to help me because most parents wouldn't. So I'm grateful that mine did. And I struggled in school. I had a learning disability. At a young age, I was training 7 hours a day, like 42 hours a week. I didn't have much of a childhood. Yes, there were so many great parts of it, and that's what I wanted to do. But it's like, I just feel like sometimes they're just kind of ungrateful and like don't realize like, yeah, it might have been all about me, but I also worked really hard to get to where I was. So I feel like they, my siblings will use it when something bad's going for them. They have to take it out on me, but it's like, I went through trials. I went through hard things. Like my life wasn't that great. Like, yeah, my parents were there for me a lot, but like it was just hard and I don't know. So it gets really frustrating. So we were just talking about different things in different scenarios. So I think like the biggest thing for me is just really trying to love all my kids as much as I can and make sure it, never feels that way for them, kind of thing. I don't remember what the question was anymore because I started talking about that, but
well, the next one, what are your thoughts on being a petite person and also pregnant? Is it harder?
yeah.
I mean, I would assume so. Also, you're so small and your belly's gotten so big. It makes
So
more,
big. I feel like it's still so small.
well, you've kind of popped, and I just feel bad for you to carry that thing around
Yeah.
because you always complain about your back hurts and you like can't sleep
Yeah.
right. And
Which
if I'm resting my arm, you're like, ow, that's my tummy.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to say like because I'm smaller, it's worse because I feel like, again, every pregnancy is so different. And then I've talked to so many people where I'm like, this hurts and this hurts. And like they can relate, But, when I went to that hospital that one time and I ended up not having a UTI or anything was wrong, he literally said, the doctor was like, I think because you're so small and like the baby doesn't have as much room to grow or go anywhere, which it will, like my stomach will get bigger, but I'm just going to be in a ton of pain and she's going to be pushing a lot on that one area where I've been having the pain. So again, I think I've seen my friends that are a lot taller and have a longer torso. Definitely is easier on them for sure. I mean, they still hurt and you still, feel sick and all the things, but I definitely feel like it is really hard being small and pregnant and it hurts. And I've cried multiple times because it's so hard, but I think it's cute being petite and pregnant. But sometimes when I'm out and about, I'm like, do people think I'm like 16 and pregnant? Because every time everyone asks my age and I'm like, I'm 26. And they're like, what? I thought you were like 18 or 20. And so like, I hope people just don't look at me weird because I'm like pregnant, but I'm small, but I don't know. It's been hard for sure, but
I think you carry it well.
thanks. I feel like my friends are like really big right now, and I'm like, you're so much bigger than me, and like I thought I was big, and I'm like, I'm actually still pretty small. And then one of my friends that I see once in a while, she's always like, you're so big. I'm like, I'm really not that big. Or like when I kind of first started to pop, like, wow, you're already like popping and you're already that big. I'm like way behind, I feel like. So it's just kind of funny. But yeah, pregnancy is definitely rough when you're small. I do have to say, I feel like it is a little bit harder. So we'll have to see if the baby can come out. That's the next question.
Yeah. Okay, you ready for a spicy question?
No.
Any
I'm
thoughts?
just kidding. I love the spicy.
Any thoughts on USA Gymnastics? Don't look
Any
at me
thoughts?
yet. Yeah, I'm not
Like,
asking it.
I know, but like, what does that mean? Just
I don't know,
like
just like
in
what's your thoughts?
general,
Yeah,
or
like what are your thoughts on the organization or what's currently happening or what has happened? I mean, you don't have to say a lot if you don't want to.
okay.
I'm sure we could spend a whole podcast on this, but
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, update right now, it's hard because I'm not in that era. Like, I still didn't really know a lot until I came back into it after retirement when Tom was the Olympic coach and kind of after everything was a hot mess. Um, it's hard because I feel like, after something really big and tragic happens like that, everyone's going to have an opinion about something, which people already do anyway. And so I just feel like it's never going to be good enough or this or that or this or that. Um, and right now it's hard because I still like, I don't know. Like, I think the committee they've built is really awesome and the people that are in it are awesome. But I also just like, I just still wish that there could just be an Olympic coach, but they could just like figure out their issues and not like have to make it a problem and things could be not so political, Like, it's just weird how there's like a selection committee type thing. Again, I'm not there, so I don't know how it works really. I usually just watch the girls compete. That's like the biggest thing. I don't I just don't really care about that stuff anymore now that I'm not a part of it. I'm like, I don't really care. I just hope that it's better for the athletes, hopefully, because these athletes deserve to like live their gymnastics dream, and I'm kind of sick of everything just USA Gymnastics sucks like it's like let's just move on, like let's just try to make it better, especially for the athletes, because it was annoying when I was there and going through it. So anyway, I think it's going in the right direction, but I don't know, the whole thing, it's just annoying, especially me living in like the Marta era. Again, cuz I've gone through all the things that I went through and all the unfairness of it, and the cheating, and so it's just like it's sad that sports is that way. But again, it eventually comes out in every sport, and every sports are going through different things. So it is really hard, but I also feel like in the Marta era we were so good. So it's like hard because I don't feel like it needed to be that abusive, but like they knew what they were doing in some way and we were just like unstoppable. So like I feel like I don't know, I feel like gymnastics wise, I kind of feel like we were a lot almost better. I don't want to say better, but I just feel like we could just like hit our routines under pressure. Like it was just different coming from Marta era to not Marta era, and just like the work ethic. Like I feel like sometimes when we'd go to camp, girls wouldn't want to do routines or wouldn't want to do numbers. And I get things are different and you can like kind of stick up more for your athlete, which I think is really awesome and positive. But then I also feel like at such a high level, you need to be doing the number of routines. And I think some of these college athletes too that are coming back into it think, oh, I don't need to train as many hours. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. But it's like, it doesn't work that way. Like, it's almost just better to go back to your club gym, train the hours. Like, that's what I did. Like, if you're going to be committed and go full in, like, you need to be all in, because otherwise it's just not going to work. And you've seen other, college athletes that have done college and they try to stay in college and do the whole, it's just like, it just doesn't always work. Because you're just not training the same hours. Your coaches can't dedicate full time to elite and the college gymnast at the same time. And I just feel like college coaches don't really know how to take you there either, and their mindset's just not fully there. I know that I'm kind of just ranting into this, but I just have thought about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like one of the first ones to really like go and defer college and do it. And I've been able to inspire a lot of athletes to go and do that too, which I think is super awesome. But you cannot just not train the hours and do the numbers of routines, which I don't think you need to sit there and bust out and kill yourself like we were doing in Marta era. But you still got to be like, I took it down a notch, but I still was doing the numbers. And when I went to camp, I was sitting there at least doing 2-bar routines, and maybe I wouldn't do the 4-bar routines a day, but I tried, or I would do parts and at least get my 2-bar routines in. And, some of the other girls weren't even doing that. So it was kind of frustrating because I had that Marta work ethic still, where I'd go to camp and like, I was like, I need to be doing the numbers. I need to show them that like I can do this and that I'm going to make this team, and some of the other ones would just stand around, be lazy, not do the numbers. So it really does make a big difference. So I don't know, the whole thing of it, it's really hard. Marta era, the new era, the newer, it's just like, I think it's still just going to be a process where it just takes a while to get back to where we need to be for it to just be good and the athletes can enjoy it, and there's not hopefully as many politics. But I mean, there's always going to be politics. So anyway, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see how USA Gymnastics grows. But I love USA Gymnastics, and I know they have all these different organizations, which again, don't really care for. I like USA Gymnastics, and I just hope that they can figure it out and again make it about the athletes. So no offense, I just don't get the whole other organization things. I'm like, let's just have one thing, leave it at that, let's make it better. This is gymnastics, this is just a sport, people, it's just a sport. We're kids, we're growing, we're learning as humans. Like, it's just kind of crazy how brutal it was, like, being a kid and going through that, So I just really hope they can, like, make a good difference and it can be a lot better, but...
Some baby names you like but aren't using. Do you even want to
Excuse
share any of
me.
these, or are you still superstitious about those?
Yeah. I mean, superstitious.
Yes, because you don't want to share our
Well, I
baby's
feel like
name.
I'm not going to share our baby's name.
I know, but I don't know if you want to share other ones that are on your list.
Well, we don't have to share the ones on our list, but ones that we've liked because I feel like there's ones that we've liked but are too common now. And we probably won't really use. And I'm sure in 2 years it will change because the name we're using 2 years ago was not on my list. It became on my list when I was talking to my sister before I came pregnant or before I got pregnant. So, like, we loved Everly, but that's like the number one name, like, because Everly, Savannah LeBrant, or I think that's how you say their last name, LeBrant, Savannah and Cole named their little girl Everly, and I followed them from a long time when she was like really little, kind of right when she first met Cole, before they had all their other kids, and like I loved Everly, but now that's like the number one trending name, and there's a lot of Everly, so we didn't like that anymore, which was sad. Can you like?
Well, I don't have a list of names.
I
I
know,
don't
but
know.
like I just feel like you're just staring at the screen or like staring over there.
Sorry, I don't. Well, I mean, most of these are your questions. Like, I don't really have any
I know,
names
but I know I'm.
that I was in love with.
Yeah, Jonas doesn't like anything, which is a bummer.
I wouldn't say I don't like anything. I just didn't really love those names.
I really liked like Hazel was like a fan favorite of mine. Hazel, Navy. What were some other ones? I feel like my name list has like totally changed.
I remember you liked Navy, you liked Oakley.
I loved Oakley. There's tons of Oakleys though. That one's like so popular. It's like hard too because with names, it's always like a trend. Like all these names are right now are so trendy, and I feel like everyone keeps using like the same names, and then it's like next year something else comes, and they kind of all come back around. I kind of feel like, or some of them just get too weird that it's like, okay, that's not even a name. I just like you're trying way too hard. And right now, like family names are coming back in, classy names, which I feel like are good to use because they'll always be there. Um, Boy names were really hard. I don't even think we have boy names to share.
Also, we didn't really agree on any boy names. Well,
No,
some
well
of
we
them.
did. We
That's
came
true.
up at least with two that we agreed on. We just don't know if like those were for sure the names.
That's true.
Which I don't want to share because those are like family names, and so there might be a chance we could still use those at some point.
So all the names that you got, that's all we're getting. Sounds like.
Yeah, because I feel like, I mean, I could look at my list.
Okay, while you're doing that, here's a hot topic that I have a big opinion on.
Okay.
Eating together as a family versus not if you're busy, does it matter? We disagree on this huge.
We do?
What do you mean we do? Yes, we do all the time because I'm of the
Oh,
mindset
yeah.
where like, hey, this is dinner and lunch. I'm like, hey, if we're both not doing something and we're in the mood for the same thing, whether we cook a meal or go out to eat, like let's go eat together. But we don't have to. Mykayla thinks that we have to eat every single meal together no matter what. Which
I just don't like eating by myself.
well, it causes a lot of problems because I'll be at work and you'll call me a million times. You're like, "Can we get lunch?" And I'm like, "No, I'm busy. You can get lunch." And then you're, "Well, I don't want to go by myself." And I'm like, "Well, okay, maybe you can wait for me." Then I have another meeting. Then I'm there till like 3 or sometimes I'm in the mood for just something specific. And so I just plan on that for myself for lunch. And then you'll text me, "What do you want to do for lunch?" And I'm like, "Oh, I wanted to make myself eggs." And then you complain, you get mad at me.
Yeah.
So we definitely disagree on that. I feel like
I mean, I think eating dinner, you should eat together like as a family for sure. Like I love like growing up. I mean, I feel like
yeah,
people don't
I
do it
like
as much anymore necessarily, but growing up, my mom always cooked. We had homemade food every night for dinner. It's like I'd come home, we'd sit down from our sports, gymnastics, and get a good home cooked meal and like be with the family. Like I love that. So I mean, for sure dinner. It's just it's hard because some of my friends don't live close to me, or it's like during the week and I feel like people have things, or like I don't want to like have to go to lunch with somebody to go get lunch, but I just hate like going out to lunch. I'm just sitting there by myself and then I see like other people with their friends or with their spouses, or and then I'm just sitting there like at the table by myself just eating my lunch, and I just kind of hate it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do that
There's
all the
not,
time.
but I hate it. I'm like,
Well, you could also, then you could just buy more groceries so you could make lunch for yourself.
real quick, back to the name thing.
Oh, you have your list?
I do, but I mean, I still have like Hazel on there. A boy name that I did really like, one that I did like was Jet. That used to be on my list, and then Sean and Andrew used it. I feel like I always talk about Sean and Andrew. And so that's, like they're a really big name, and she's like an Olympic gymnast, and so I was like, well, can't use that one. So that was kind of a bummer because I did like Jet. I don't know if you liked it. I didn't really
Yeah, I don't know. It
talk
wasn't
to
my
you
favorite.
about it, but one I really loved for a boy, which we probably never used because Jonas hates it, was Hudson.
Yeah, I hate that.
I love Hudson.
Sorry if that's your name. I don't hate it. That's a strong word. It's not my favorite name.
I loved that one. And
Well, no, let me clarify. How do you spell that?
Hudson, Hudson.
No, because the one that you were trying to tell me had a T in it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Sometimes when
which
I
is why
say
I
it,
hated it.
No, sometimes when I say it,
It's 'cause-
it might just sound
'cause
like
you
I say
pronounce things
Hudson
weird.
because sometimes I don't fully like pronounce the letter.
If you
It's
haven't
Hudson.
If you haven't noticed, this is a fun secret for everyone that's listened this far into the podcast. There's certain
They
words
can
or
probably
sounds.
hear it. They probably listen to me and like I sound stupid.
You don't sound. Mykayla just has her own way of pronouncing some things that I haven't heard from anyone else. If a word ends with a D, Mykayla pronounces it with a T. So like she says ant.
Yeah. Keep going.
There's another one. Instead of saying while, you say, what do you say? You say
No, it's weather. I say rather
you
instead
say
of
rather
weather.
instead of weather. I know, but there's a different one. Instead of saying while, you say well.
No.
What's
I
that
can't
one?
remember
Now I
now.
can't. It bugs me so bad. Now I can't remember it. This is gonna bug me.
I don't know. I just
Okay.
pronounce everything.
There's a few other.
When I say stuff, you should just write it down so you can have
I
a
know,
whole
I
list and we
should.
can just say.
Because
say
I remember
them.
when I first started noticing it when we were dating, I'm like, is that just how they talk in Arizona? Because there's a few of them. I don't know. I think it's cute,
I
though.
think it comes with my learning disability, and I just feel like I didn't really learn English properly, and I just kind of say things how I want to say it.
Okay,
or
last
how
one.
it should sound to me. It's kind of like when you hear like a pun or something, or I don't know if you call it a pun, but like there's one that Chelsea says, and that's I can't remember it now, but that's like, what is it when you?
Okay, while you're thinking of it.
Hold on, it's not gonna help when you talk though.
Well, I don't
It's
wanna
like when you
just-
get punched in the face, or like what are things people say like as a saying?
I don't know what
like
you're
a
talking
short-
about.
Dang it.
Okay, working out at a gym versus doing home workouts. Is there a better option? I'm a fan of doing home workouts. I don't like the crowd. I don't like having to fight for a machine or a piece of equipment. I just like the peace of our own home.
Yeah, I don't like going to a gym where you like Vasa, like we've talked about, where you just like go and like there's a whole bunch of things to use. I like going to a workout gym where they have like a class and you're with a group of people and you're all working hard and they like take you through the class and all the workouts because I don't know what to use at the gym. So I would definitely say I like doing that. I hate going to the gym, but I also at home we don't really have workout stuff. Jonas can do a workout with having like 2 workout items. I cannot.
You
That
can, you just choose to
Yeah,
not to.
I don't like that. I don't feel like I'm working out. So anyway, I would say go to a gym and have a class. That's for me.
Okay. The assumption this week, you love doing this podcast together and you find out something new about each other every time.
It is pretty true because I was asking you stuff and I'm like, I want to know your opinion.
Yeah.
Because I don't always know your opinion. Like I do know most things, but
I would say we do love doing the podcast, but I don't know if I find something new about you every time.
yeah, probably not every time, but I mean, it is cool to kind of pick each other's opinions, or if I ask you something, I'm like, okay, I got to know more of what you were thinking, which is cool. Jonas, again, doesn't always like to listen. He's a dude, and so I always have to, like, call or vent to my parents. So sometimes it is hard to like have a conversation with him when it's not on the podcast. Cause
No, you're not thinking of conversation. You're thinking of venting. We have great
no,
conversations.
I'm just saying,
but
like, when we go on our walks, I'll start talking to you about things. You just seem like you get really annoyed by it.
because you know why? Because we'll be talking, then all of a sudden you'll start venting about something, and then you'll just go off on a tangent and like start complaining, and you'll be like, "The world sucks," and I just don't like listening to that.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not even like that. I do that a lot, but
We have great conversations until you start complaining. That's just when it gets hard
I
for
don't
me.
know.
But I've done a
Sometimes
lot.
it's hard to read your brain. I don't know what you're thinking.
Okay, I've done a lot better though.
You have. I'm not.
And you've done a lot better about complaining too.
I know. I'm just
So we've
saying.
both
I'm not trying to sit here and
improved.
make you look bad on the podcast. I'm just saying, like, sometimes I feel like for me, it's hard to pick your brain because sometimes I just feel like you don't want to like. You'll do talk about stuff, but then sometimes I just feel like you're like, and then you start ranting about how I walk so slow. Okay, let's end it before
All right.
we just keep going.
That's been season 1, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
This has
and
been seriously so fun.
It's been a fun experiment.
Hopefully there'll be I can't talk. Hopefully there'll be a season 2. I don't know. We'll have to talk with the crew. So hopefully you'll get to hear more of us. Hopefully you're not sick of us yet. But seriously, again, this has been so much fun. I feel like I was gonna say something else and I'm forgetting because I'm stressing that the camera's gonna turn off. But
I mean, I don't know. I was just gonna say, let us know if you want a season 2 and if you want us to have a theme for season 2. I mean, the podcast is always gonna be agree to disagree, but I mean, season 2 could
bring something totally different.
Just USA Gymnastics drama. Just kidding.
No, I'm just kidding because I don't
die.
remember those stories. We'd have to have Simone on to tell all those stories because I don't remember half of them. But I was just gonna say we're taking a break for a while, aren't we? Or do we not know for?
We
might take a little break.
Bit.
Yeah,
we're going out
of town for like.
And then summer's a little
off.
crazy, but okay. Well,
turn it on one more time. Just turn it on one more time.
No, they can just hear it.
Okay. No, turn it on one more
They can
time.
just see.
I just want to see you do it one more time.
I don't want to.
I just want to see you do it one more time.
I'm gonna throw this camera away.
Okay. Anyway.
We'll catch
you on the next, or we'll catch you sometime. We don't know.
Season.
But thank you guys so much. We love you all, and it seriously has been the best. You're the best, and I hope that you guys have learned a lot from us or have taken our opinions and have enjoyed it so as much as we have. So thank you guys so much. We love you, and hopefully we get to see you again.
See ya. Thanks, everybody.